live. Welcome to the stream. Here we go. We're grinding today. What if on my list? Streamer mode. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is add the black boxes. Why it didn't crash. Investigation of the black boxes. Hey, what's up, guys? I hope the sound is a little bit quieter so you can hear me better compared to the background music, but let me know if you can't. What's this? That's a pretty good quote right there. Okay, good. Thanks for checking the levels for me. I think it's afternoon now. What happened to the witness in the confessionals? We talked to her. Take a look at my piece about the interview with the witness. It's a pretty good one. But she's good, and I don't want to bother her anymore. You know, I think that I don't want the focus to be on the witness. I think she's safer that way in general. And, you know, I'm taking all the heat on myself here. So, if anything's going to happen to anybody, I want it to be to me, not to anyone else. Not that anything will, but, you know, you never really know. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here... Copy this. All these cords are in the way. This is annoying. Let's just move it like this. There we go. So the thing about 20,000 feet is that's as deep as the ocean goes. So there's no way they couldn't have detected this. That's just bananas to me. Peel this out. Here we go. I'm gonna Pais questions too. We're gonna work on both these at the same time. Yeah, so if you watch the confessionals, you watch the higher side chats, we got more stuff coming out. We've done already, I think, over 7 or 8 podcasts this week. I just decided that I was kind of like holding out, and I just decided that it doesn't even matter if we re-go over the content. There's so much new stuff that comes out every day that we discover, and that really it's a matter of just keeping getting to more and more audiences. People that want to watch stuff again, they can. People that feel like they're up to date, they don't have to. Thanks, Diarrhea. Grateful to have you here too. I think we added the hoaxer not knowing how to find the plane already. Let me check. Do we have the requirements on here? Yeah, here are the requirements. We'll delete that. God, it's amazing how much stuff we have. This document's 17 pages long. We can get rid of this part. I think we have this. Let's go down to the hoax part here. Hey everybody, welcome to the chat. I really want to get a lot of this done if I can today. We don't have a lot of time today either. Sorry, I have to check my notes. You guys need to watch the Theories of Everything podcast with Salvatore Pais. You guys have to watch it. If you haven't watched it, get on it. I've been watching it this morning, and I only got like 45 minutes in, and I'm already got like 10 things I need to write up about it. I think the biggest thing from the Salvatore Pais podcast with Theories of Everything is that when he mentions the energy levels that are required to essentially break the, what does he call it? The like default vacuum state or empty vacuum state. He literally mentions creating a black hole. He literally mentions it. Like, we're looking at it in our videos, guys. So we got to figure out ways to be a little bit coy tomorrow when we talk about it, because I don't want to dig into the videos tomorrow with him. I want to go into the science, but we're going to ask science-related questions that will be relevant. He also talks about metamaterials a little bit indirectly. Accelerated vibration through a pulse current. And what he argues too is not that they're not increasing the spin of these quantum forces of the electrons, they're actually vibrating them. And by vibrating them, they can produce the same type of effect, which is, I thought, was really interesting. Because if you spin them really fast, then you're going to create forces that theoretically would tear the thing apart. But vibration-wise, it may not. They also talk about applying pressure to generate voltage, which I was just watching again, rewatching the Pyramid Y files. They argue the same thing in terms of how the pyramids could have generated electricity. Pretty weird. There's a lot of connections in some of this stuff. Thanks, Paul. Paul was saying that I hope we can solve this mystery so that we can get justice for the missing passengers and their relatives. I absolutely agree. That's really the main objective here, right? The technology is really cool, and I think that on a world level, it maybe shadows and dwarfs the passengers and their families, the victims. But we need to make sure that they're our primary focus. We just can't forget about them. One thing I want to clarify for people, we've moved away from the wormhole idea. It is a black hole, actually, that we're seeing. It's an endothermic event. It can be described as a black hole, but it's not portaling the plane somewhere. What's happening is this plane, the speed of the plane is increasing, and potentially they are putting an electromagnetic field, maybe even double-sided, around the plane, which can allow it to obtain superconductive properties. And really what this requires is a unification of quanta and macro that will allow macro-sized objects to have the same properties as quantum objects, which can essentially ignore gravity and move extremely high speeds. So this is going to be pretty mind-blowing stuff. A lot of people in traditional academia are not going to be able to accept a lot of this stuff, but we don't give a crap. We're also going to make sure that Salvatore Pais's science gets the publications that it deserves to get to. I think it's a disservice to humanity. These publications wouldn't look at it. Blows me away. Yeah, we need to move this one up for sure. This is a fact. I think we got the knowledge of classified systems already in our other thing. Okay, this one's very important as well. Since it was recorded on a Citrix session, where do we put that? Yeah, here. Let's say let's say we're just gonna call this the leaker. Yeah, the vibrating part was very interesting. The first thing I thought when I was watching the Theory of Everything podcast with Salvatore Pais about when he's talking about vibrating and the solution being to use vibration as opposed to increasing the spin. Well, the first thing I thought is this is a unifying theory of quanta and macro. What he's really getting at here is you're going to find a way to take a macro-sized object and allow it to obtain superconductive properties, which will allow it then to act to get the properties of quanta objects. But then I thought about Commander Fravor and his sighting of the Tic Tac in off the coast of California, and how he mentioned that the object was vibrating, shaking. Made me wonder if that was the same type of thing going on. Yeah, it's not a wormhole. What's happening is that it seems like they're using inertial mass reduction technology, and actually Salvatore Pais actually jumped around that question on his interview, and he said specifically he's not a spy. It was pretty interesting. So what that led me to believe is that there is actually classified information regarding the science that he can't speak to, that something's been taken out of his papers in order to protect the information. It does make me wonder how much I should be speaking about it, but here's my view. My view on this idea of inertial mass reduction, which I'm now 99% sure it's being hidden from us, is that these videos are 9 years old. If either China and Russia have already figured it out, if we could figure it out, they've already figured it out. If they haven't figured it out, then they're so far behind that it doesn't even matter. If we're somehow ahead of China and Russia, us, figuring this stuff out, then they're not a threat. So either way we look at it, then that situation, like we shouldn't have to worry about revealing this information. Interesting enough, I keep thinking about, like, who am I more of a threat to? Am I more of a threat to the U.S. government, or am I more of a threat to rogue governments? I think that China and Russia wouldn't really care that I'm revealing this. I'm hurting the United States government by revealing it. So I don't think they would do anything to me. But if I were to go work with the U.S. government, then I would be a huge target, because they know what I can reveal at this point. If we can reveal this just from 2 videos that are out there, man, imagine what we could uncover if we had access to real spy information from the database from other countries. So just if anyone's out there listening from other countries, spies and what have you, I have no enemies. I'm not against you guys. If I had the ability, I would try to heal all the current relationships that are out there. I don't think we need to be adversarial to Russia, China, any other country. It's counterproductive. What we should be doing is working together to ensure that humanity uses this technology in a positive way, that we use it responsibly, and that we don't destroy ourselves. That's what I think we should be worried about. I don't think we should be worried about fighting with one another. So I'm just reading some messages here. Yeah, the phone call stuff, you can check out some of my past pieces. Go take a look at my all works. You guys can find links to a lot of the questions you're going to ask are already going to be in there. There's going to be specific articles for all of them, including the phones ringing, including one we caught on camera. We have an actual video of them actually like proving it. The current theory is that it somehow got to Diego Garcia military base. It's going to be very difficult to prove, and just straight up in front, I don't really want to reveal too much information about this base, because everybody that has talked to me has said that it's this extremely advanced and protected base in terms of the secrets around it. So I want to avoid that as much as possible, not get copyright striked or have my YouTube video just get taken down for whatever reason. Because again, I'm not a spy either, and I do care about my country, but I want them to admit the truth here. So harder they push back on us, the harder we will push back as well. So if there are U.S. government assets listening, take note of that, please. Is this still true? We might be changing a lot of the zaps to black hole. I'll probably still use zap in some instances, though. After watching Salvatore Pais interview it, now I'm 100% sure, basically, that what we're seeing is an intermediate black hole, surprisingly. And to some people's point, well, what did Don Lemon know? I mean, what the hell? How is this Don Lemon dude talking about black holes? Be careful about Googling black holes, by the way, but you guys get my point. Just a little joke. Yeah, I agree. Whoopty. Technology needs to be used for the betterment of humanity, not for the destruction of others. I think that a lot of people don't understand the implications of what we're dealing with here. You know, yesterday I was on I'm not going to name people just because I don't want to, but I was on one of the UFO Twitter Week spaces, and my question, usually the question is always the same, is I want to ask, what do you guys think the implications are of the technology, right? Because I think anyone who's really in the know is going to realize that this goes well beyond nuclear weapons. We're talking about the next advancement, right? Stuff that's 100 times, 1,000 times, almost infinitely more dangerous than nuclear weapons. When we're talking about obtaining quantum properties, we're talking about also the potential for complete doomsday weapons that could destroy the planet, destroy whole cities. We're really opening the door up to, you know, Dr. Evil type supervillain capabilities. So that's why we have to be extremely responsible with this type of technology. about the zap. I don't know if we really need this. Might want to say why it's teleportation, right? I think we're gonna move this to the science portion. We're gonna end up removing some of this stuff because this wormhole stuff is obsolete now. Except for this one. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna change the science part around a little bit. I'm also probably gonna put out another tweet later about the black boxes because I just think that's really big. Like, how did we not find the black boxes? It's impossible. These black boxes had to have been down there. They're pinging for 30 days and they're capable of going 20,000 feet under the ocean. Guys, the ocean only goes down to 15,000 feet except for in certain parts. They should have easily been able to find these black boxes. So what we're gonna do here, where is it? I think that's probably enough. I could say the event would be much more energetic here, but kind of goes without saying. Yeah, could be real planet destruction kind of stuff. It really makes me wonder about the Fermi paradox in general. In terms of, like, is that the reason? Is that we don't find other civilizations? Does a lot of them just destroy themselves with significantly advanced technology? Yeah, you can. You'll be able to watch the live stream after it's done. I think that what comes along with these videos as well, guys, is that a new understanding of how we look through things, the events of geopolitical struggle in general, is that this explains why nobody ever attacks America, because they're gonna get wiped out in an instant. I mean, we could have warp nukes. That's even without using any more technology than what we're already just looking at on video. I love the guy who's bringing up warp nukes in the space. Like, he gets it. Is that even without any other advanced technology, all we have to do is warp a nuke onto somebody and that's game over. And so a lot of people ask, well, like, why wouldn't we just take over the world? Why would we want to take over the world? So let's say we go wipe out Russia's whole government structure. What does that do? Now we have a government, you have a whole bunch of people, millions of people who have no government. Now we have to take care of those people, and we have to figure them out too? Nah, that's the reason why people don't take over other countries, is that you learn in economics that there is a whole, like, managing the economies of other countries is a huge thing. Not to mention those people would be native Russians. It's not like all of a sudden they become Americans, right? They would rebel. They would fight back. That's not what anyone wants, right? So instead what happens is it's a stalemate where, you know, nobody's going to blink. And if those countries have the equivalent weapons, it's the same way with nuclear weapons, where first person to use it, everybody's going to start using it. So it creates this stalemate situation, right? And what that means with these little proxy wars is that these are all just small fish fighting against one another, right? People that are insignificant. Now, I don't mean to say that the people aren't. They are very significant. And that's part of the reason why these small wars shouldn't exist. And ultimately what these small wars come down to then is just money, right? It comes down to spending this money and what have you. One thing I want to say with you guys as well, keeping the background music on because I'm working and I like to listen to it. If I'm doing a podcast, I obviously won't have the background music on, but I'm not here to just do only question and answers right now. I'm trying to work on the stuff. Be careful who you guys listen to in terms of what they say. I've been very consistent that I'm presenting the evidence. I'm building a case. I'm an investigator. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a pilot. I have a background in IT. And I present the evidence. I tell you guys my opinions, but I don't force anyone to believe any particular thing. If people are out there telling you what to believe and what they know with absolute certainty without presenting the evidence, then those people are charlatans, right? And there's a lot of people that just want answers, but they don't want to have to think for themselves. That's not what I'm doing. That's not the kind of community that I'm building. And you should be careful of those people who are offering answers, but not showing you the evidence. Be very careful of them. I think I've run into a lot, especially on Twitter. People that claim to have all the answers. I tell you open front, I don't have all the answers, and that's the difference, right? People who are credible are people that don't try to tell you they know everything. People who are just trying to investigate. Let's dig into the witnesses. I think this is a good one to do. Mike McKay. Yeah, John. It's for John's sister, Christine. Shout out to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a follower. You know, whatever event is going on for you, congratulations. Yeah, fossil fuels are a huge issue, guys. So it's not just the dangers to the world, it's actually also the socioeconomic impact. There are millions, if not a billion people in the Middle East and in that general region. And there's probably, I don't know, maybe those numbers are a little off. I'm guessing hundreds of millions. And their entire economies would collapse overnight. Entire economies that are completely based off of oil would become entirely obsolete overnight. There would be terrible famine in those countries. Their economies would just completely fall apart. So part of it is the economic struggle. But on the flip side of that, what that also means is that there's certain elites who are already planning with probably a specific timeline for how they will take control of this technology. The companies that they know are going to be the ones that are going to control the technology. They've probably already invested in those companies. Which, what I would say is, you want to put your money where the elites have put their money. The people who are in the know, right? And there are definitely people who are in the know. Doesn't take a lot of believing on that one. Have I been looking into this for years? No. So the story is back in 2014, I did look into MH370 in general, not around like this. I just wanted to know why it crashed. At least I thought it did at the time. And I even remember seeing one of these videos. Lots of people saw these videos. I've seen comments all over the place about people had seen one or two of these videos back in 2014, and we just ignored them, right? Because we didn't have any idea of how they could be real. And when I saw them reemerge after I have seen FLIR footage from the 2017 DoD Navy leaks, that's when I became interested in the UAP phenomenon. Began watching. I've seen probably thousands of videos, a lot of the same ones you guys have seen. Probably everything that's out there in the zeitgeist. And after I saw them reemerge on Reddit, on the UFO subreddit, which I think is probably controlled by the government, people did a ton of investigation for like about a week until it got censored off of there. And I was very early on convinced that they were authentic. Just from seeing from two different angles, it was the first thing that really had me looking at it pretty hard. The satellite Trump picture, that helped us understand that we could be looking at satellite footage here. The DoD Navy leaks helped us understand that we're looking at a drone, a real drone that has a colorized thermal built into it. The science has started to catch up to this now. You know, in 2014, this science was futurology. Now there's tons of science about macroscopic decoherence, Bose-Einstein condensates. You know, the public is just behind the military, at least 10 years, probably more like 25 years, maybe even 50 years. And in addition to that, we also needed superconductivity. Like, people didn't really realize that we're on the verge of superconductivity from the public perspective. I'd argue that China, Korea, the people that have been pushing, where these videos have been coming from about superconductivity, you know, they're taking it very seriously. We are behind the scenes in the West from a public perspective. And the answer to that is because superconductivity is the key to all this. That's how you get all this stuff to work. Superconductivity enables everything else we see in the videos. It may even create it's the link between quantum and macro. It is potentially how you can have inertial mass reduction. It is how you can essentially have a plane, 777, go at beyond the speed of light or at the speed of light. It's pretty remarkable. And I think that all this stuff is so consistent with UFOlogy, the same reason why when I first watched these videos, I even thought it must be non-human intelligence, because that's how consistent what we see is with that, a lot of the UFOlogy aspects. And the reason, and so the conclusion there is that this must be reverse engineered, right? That's how we figured it out. It probably took 100 years, but we figured it out eventually, right? And that information has been leaking to the public. In fact, I just think from the technological advancement standpoint, humanity's advanced way too quickly in the last 70 years, far beyond what we probably should have advanced. So I think that a lot of that might come from reverse engineering. You know, you watch a UAP floating in the sky, and you go, how are they doing that? Let's figure that out. But we need the material science to be able to do it. And the analogy I always give is like, if you give a caveman an iPhone, they can use the iPhone, but they're not going to understand how to recreate it. But when their material science advances to the point where they can create the components, then potentially they can. So I'm going to type up some more stuff here. There might be more witnesses too. Thanks, Leopold. I'm glad that we have people from all over the world who are following this. It really is a world event, especially in Australia, where a lot of the search was originated from. Yeah, they were just searching. You know, it was a wild goose chase. They were never going to find that plane there. Sucks, honestly. Yeah, John, so I think I already kind of commented on this, but China would have figured this out 9 years ago already, right? They've had these videos. If we can figure them out from Twitter, which is the Twitter account, pretty confident that China have already figured this out. And if they hadn't figured it out, I'm pretty sure the U.S. government would have silenced us in one way or another. Either just, you know, deleted our Twitter account or whatever they would have had to do, right? So they probably assume that China's already figured it out as well. But even if they haven't, then they're so incompetent that they're not really a threat. Now, I don't think China's incompetent, so I think they've probably figured it out. Yeah, Iron, I think that's what we're saying, is that it went either at the speed of light or faster than the speed of light. And that's why we can't see it. But also keep in mind, what we're looking on the videos is a frame rate. So if it's moving faster than the frame rate, then we're not going to see it on the video. Now, if you saw it in real time, it might look different to your eyes. But from the scientists I've been talking to, it seems like it could theoretically be going even faster than the speed of light. When you obtain quantum properties, you also obtain the properties of the wave function, which is how we've been able to prove quantum teleportation and non-locality, which is essentially teleportation. But it is very important we speak about it in the right way. We have a whole separate part about her, and then I'm gonna... It's called the official. Is that it? This is all there is. Let's take a look at this black box stuff for a minute. Yeah, I have nothing against China. I lived in Singapore when I was younger. Chinese people are pretty cool. Not sure why we're so adversarial towards them in general. One other thing I want to show you guys again. Let's go over this as well. It's good. It's a good time. We're gonna go over it real quickly. The piece from yesterday. Wait, let me see something. Oh yeah, Star Captain. Star Captain's the one who was posting about warp nukes. I love this guy. It's so funny. Let's take a look here. I'm going to show you guys this. Pull this over here. So yet another thing that we had been missed for honestly weeks on end. Is this? Oh, okay. There's just a delay. Okay. Similar to how we had missed the heat signature under the plane, which indicated this lithium-ion battery fire and the smoke that we can see coming out of the back. We can even see the smoke coming out of the back right here. This is smoke coming out of the back of this plane here. This is the frame. This is the frame before and a frame after. So we can already see the bending of these orbs already happening. And I'm hoping that tomorrow's interview will help explain that. In addition to this, in the next frame, you can actually just see that the plane is smaller in this picture than in this one. It's clearly smaller. So this is seeming to indicate that something's happening here that is a very strong energetic event is happening here that is beginning the black hole that is essentially reducing the mass of this plane. In addition to that, it's blurred. There's no blurring in the rest of this video. These are extremely advanced electro IR cameras that are being manually tracked. They're not even automatic tracking and focusing happening. And then this is the only frame where we're seeing this type of blur, which indicates this plane is accelerating. and moving so fast that it's causing the blur action to happen. So this to me is the really absolute proof of the science that we're seeing. We're seeing some sort of inertial mass reduction technology. It's pretty wild. If it was just a wormhole, then what I wouldn't expect to see the blur, I would really expect to see more warping, gravitational lensing, even more than this, of the plane itself. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong. No news on the whistleblower. You know, I don't know if we're gonna have to wait for that new law to come or not. Not sure. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a lot more frames in this. I think the very next frame after this, the plane's already encompassed. There's not enough frames per second for us to watch. We would need like I mean, this may even be high def. I'm not sure. But we would need even a better camera than this. And this was 2014, so we were somewhat limited. Yeah, warp nukes just crack me up. I don't know. Every time I hear it, it cracks me up. Yeah, this is 10 years after the Nimitz encounter. If I had to guess, and I want to be careful about talking about some of these private companies because I think that's how you get disappeared. But Lockheed Martin is where it all points back to. There are others. Cameras probably made by Raytheon. The drones made by General Atomics. The general that we spoke about, who... Look at the general situation this way, guys. And I'm probably going to redo the general piece. I need to write that down, actually. Give me a second. So this general's in charge of like the international security forces, and he ends up getting a promotion. He gets a promotion despite the fact they never found the plane. Why would you get a promotion to being the top ranked military officer after being in charge of MH370, which theoretically was a huge disaster? They never found anything. I have an idea that they were able to successfully cover up what really happened. Therefore, you get a promotion. And then went ahead and started working for Lockheed. SIGINT, that's a good question. Is SIGINT just solely related to them? Let's look up. Certainly seems this way. And I think there's even a new, better SIGINT that's coming out now, too. Jeez, look at this. Hey, look at this drone over here, guys. Is that our drone? Oh, radar dishes on the ground, too. That's cool. Oh, should we watch this? This is probably a little bit more new. Oh, look at that. SIGINT payload. There's your SIGINT payload right there. See how it connects to everything here? Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at this. Are we gonna have to steal this? Did you see that? The battlefield awareness thing is exactly what we're dealing with here. Exploitation? That's what Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn was part of that. Yeah, okay. I'm 100% convinced. It's Edward C. Lynn. He's the guy. There's nobody else. Kinetic and non-kinetic events? Wow. Is this how they locked in? Is this how they locked into the plane with the orbs? Do you guys see that? Is that how they lock into the plane? They're using signals intelligence and they're targeting it, and then they're firing off the weapon somehow? Or like orbs? Wow. Wow. Well, we're saving this one. Holy crap. I'm gonna put this in my Discord. We need to come back to that. We might have to do a SIGINT part 2, guys. It's definitely Lockheed, by the way. Somehow the general just ends up being on board of directors of Lockheed Martin after being the highest ranked military officer. Impressive. All seems to be connected by SIGINT. Is that the camera? Nah. Is it? This is why the drone's there? Is this targeting and positioning? How is this stuff all publicly available? If I'm Lockheed Martin, I'm not making this on the internet. That's just me, but we thank them for it. Thank you for letting us figure out how this all works. Doesn't take a lot of deduction to figure it all out. Hardware and software across platforms for optimal interoperability. Hello. This is wild. Guys, should I apply for a new cyber career job? I don't know if they'll let me after our history here. Okay, let's find out some more information on this flight data recorder. I'm gonna have to drop off here in about 20 minutes or so to get ready for the next podcast. I'm gonna be on the Alpha Warrior podcast. I'm not sure if it's live or not, but if it is live, I'll put a link. You guys can watch. After the Alpha Warrior podcast, I will probably jump back on because we do have the UFO Twitter space later tonight, but that's not till later, 10 p.m. Eastern. So there's gonna be a little bit of time between. I really got to keep working on some of this stuff. I also need to prepare for some upcoming podcasts. I want to put together an outline for going over all this evidence piece by piece. I think not just having the evidence is important, but kind of reviewing it in the right sequence so that, you know, common people can really get behind it and realize that this is the official narrative is bullshit. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat messages. I don't know much about electrogravitics, but I have learned a little bit about geodesics, which is probably the same thing. And I'm going to learn more tomorrow with Salvatore Pais. They're generating their own geodesics here, probably through an electromagnetic pulse that's creating an accelerated vibration, is what I'm thinking, but I don't know. I do remember the RQ-170 drone that Iran stole. That was really, really interesting. Yeah, the batteries, I mean, ultimately, we don't need to prove they're military batteries or what. We just need to know there's 221 kilograms of lithium-ion batteries, which is a lot. It's way too much. That's a dangerous amount. Yeah, if you guys want to get me on any of those podcasts you listed there, go ahead and send them messages about me. You can link to my content. You can link to the congressional letter is probably the best one to get people on board with it. I imagine the more people that they get hit with, the more they will be inclined to talk to us. You might also mention that there's a very coordinated group of people trying to get people to not talk to me, because I know that they're doing that as well. I mean, we caught them on one of their spaces admitting to it, which is pretty alarming. Like, don't do that, guys. Be better than that. You know, I'm not going to say more than that, but there will be consequences if you are defaming me to other people. That is, in some states, like criminally illegal, and in other cases, that's defamation. If you make up lies about people and say it to other people, that's called defamation. So don't do that. And if you think you're hidden because your name's not showing on a Twitter account, think again, okay? If you have verified yourself and your name and you get subpoenaed, they will give us that name. So, again, guys, do not defame me. I'm not joking around about that. That goes for anybody listening. Let's work a little bit on. So we got the. Let's look at this flight data recorder stuff. I mean, is there any actual good stuff in here? Blah blah blah. What I want to know is how they work and what would make them not work. Yeah, I know all the people in here. You know, this isn't to any of you guys. You know, I think you guys are all supporters in general, but there's unscrupulous people out there that have been doing some pretty heinous stuff, and it's in their best interest to stop doing that. I've been very kind up until this point, but my patience is wearing thin. And I'm not the kind of person that's going to make any overt threats or anything like that. You're just, by the time you hear about it, it'll be too late. Just realize we have people on recordings. If you think that just having me blocked is going to prevent me from getting the defamation things that you're saying, it's not. I've got lots of followers. I do keep track of that kind of stuff. Just a heads up. Especially if you are putting your name next to it, don't do that. Do not do that. I mean, what is all this? What do we care about this stuff? Can we just, what are the details? It's like, oh, these are all the different flight recorders. Okay, cool, but what I want to know is the capabilities. Yeah, I appreciate people that are bold enough to use their real names, because it means that they're holding themselves accountable, right? And that's really big. That's why I put a lot more credibility in people that are using their real names as opposed to people that are trying to hide behind an avatar. There's no credibility of those people. Now, ultimately, what I will say though is I don't judge people just based on their name. I judge people based on the content of what they're telling me, the facts, the way they're laying it out, and the content of their character. And that's how it should be. If you guys see anything relevant here that I'm missing, please point it out in the chat. What I want to know is how can these things get destroyed? Is there any reason why it wouldn't work? I mean, if a plane's crashing into the ocean, this black box isn't going to get destroyed. That's, I mean, you'd have to get hit by some extremely powerful weapon, I believe. Ooh, look at this. Hello. Hello. There's a whole part about Malaysian Airlines in here? Wow. Yeah, so for the lithium-ion batteries, they were most likely in a cargo bay that is actually made to be able to withstand fires, which would explain why we don't see a very prominent heat signature in some part of the plane, is that the fire would be relatively contained, but it's going to break through that containment. And that's where the smoke would pretty much be going all over. Antonia, the way you're speaking, I hope your dad is around. If not, you know, keep him in our hearts. MKS need. Well, the answer is those scientists, first of all, 12 of them are Malaysian and 8 of them are Chinese nationals, but we have directly tied them to room temperature superconductivity via an NSA security report about commercial use of superconductivity. So presumably if you have 20 people that have very advanced intellectual property, now you have developed a very strong reason why you might need to utilize this technology. Or maybe we're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. You know, saving a passenger plane full of 7 people is a noble thing to do. You know, if we have that technology, we should do it to save people if we can. Antonio, I'm sorry to hear about that. You know, I think that, what do I want to say? I guess I want to say that, you know, I'm sorry for your dad passing, but, you know, if you hold him in your hearts and our spirits, you know, he'll live on for sure. And I'm glad that he would have been proud and interested in this, because I think it's interesting topic in general. I think there's a lot of people that passed before us that never got the truth of what they wanted, but we can vindicate them in retrospect as well, in hindsight. And that's what we're going to do. Wow, so they changed it so it has to be live streaming? That is interesting. Yeah, but the Rolls-Royce engines were doing this. This is interesting. So what we need to look into is the range. So their argument is they're claiming the range was too far away. I'm going to call bullshit on it right away. Even before we dig into it, I'm calling bullshit. MH370 black box range. Look at how there's nothing related to it. Like, the top hit should be telling us what the range is. This is all like weird news articles talking about picking up these fake pings that they didn't find the plane. Oh, wow. It would still be correct because it's on a solid state drive. Why would the transponders be related to the black boxes? Makes no sense. We're talking about ping. It's pretty suspicious that so far we've gone through 10 links here and we haven't found anything about this yet. Okay, this is getting really weird now. Okay, well, I'm not signing up for any crap, that's for sure. Okay, and like all these excuses for why the black boxes wouldn't work. Okay, what's the excuse? Battery life is short. It's 30 days. What are you talking about? Is there any real excuses here? It's small. It doesn't matter. We're talking about pings. We're not talking about trying to find the object. We literally didn't get any pings from it. Again, not floating doesn't matter. These things go down to 20,000 feet. Like literally further than the ocean is deep. Okay, pinger range is only a few miles. That's also bullshit. I mean, first of all, we're talking about they can already go 4 miles deep underwater, and ping and acoustic sounds carry over water. So, what's the excuse here? What's the supposed range? Oh, could have been buried in the mud, guys. And the hydrophone technology didn't hear it either. So, okay. So basically, just all I'm hearing is excuses. I'm not seeing the range. You guys see the range? They literally don't even explain it. This whole thing about the ping range only being a few miles isn't even corroborated in this article, in this piece right here, in this paragraph. Which 20,000 feet is 4 miles. That's just underwater. That's straight down. And they literally did this. Look at what they did here. I'm going to save this picture actually too. That's a cool picture. Okay, this black box thing is getting sketchier and sketchier. Okay, if we delete this, I bet you we find the answer right away. Once per second for 30 days. What's the range? I'm guessing that this range is very far. Well, anyone have any ideas where we can find it? So dark matter, as I've been hearing, is really explained by complexity. The more complex a galaxy gets, the more mass there is, and therefore that will explain dark matter without dark matter having to be a specific thing. So a lot of the names you guys are dropping, I'm not going to say their names on the stream. We've reached out to them and they're going to let you down, guys. If somebody's out there telling you that they know how everything works, they're probably full of crap. That's what I'll say, okay? So a lot of you guys follow certain people that are out there on social media that claim to have all these answers. You're going to be disappointed, is what I'm going to say, without going into too much depth. So if somebody hasn't chimed in by now, then don't be looking up to them for answers. Okay, Sean, that's what I want to know. If 37.5 kilohertz, how far is that going to go? My guess is that's going really far. Yeah, dark matter is not a specific thing. What it seems to be is more of a, similar to gravity. It's a property of what is happening with mass interacting with space-time. And in order to explain dark matter, the way I've been explaining it is that complexity increases. When things go from gas to becoming solids and potentially even life itself and consciousness, and the more life there is, there might be more dark matter, because really all dark matter is more stickiness, right? Now that's a pretty weird and abstract concept, but we do know that dark matter is not necessarily a specific thing. But we do need to have a way where we can explain how is there more gravitational attraction than what we can see from the mass that we can see. I'm gonna have to drop here in just a few minutes. I really want to figure out what the range on these hertz is here. I'm gonna highlight this and steal this as well. I'm gonna go ahead and take this as well. There's actually no excuse, though, from what I'm reading here, that we shouldn't have found this black box. Yeah, when I heard that thing about dark matter, too, it really stuck with me, because I already knew that dark matter wasn't a specific thing. Then the real question is, okay, well, what is causing all this extra stickiness that we see? It's a lot. I will probably post the Alpha Warrior podcast link. I need to talk with him, actually, and figure out if it's live or not. I actually don't know. Checking real quick.
I just wish you knew.
Holy crap. That's cool. I don't know yet. I'll let you guys know. But if you Google Alpha Warrior Podcast, my guess is you can find it. How is there not a range on this, though? Oh, here we go. I mean, the depth is one thing. I want to know how far. There's no way it's just a couple kilometers. No chance, man. No chance. If we have acoustic sounds like the SOSA system that can hear the Titan sub pop from hundreds of thousands of miles away, there's no way that these black boxes can't be detected from really far away. I need someone to tell. Every single one is about MH370 and some excuse for why they couldn't find the black boxes. This is a pretty big red flag here. How do we? This random article is just about MH370 as well. This is really suspicious. Oops. Well, okay. I think I'm gonna probably close it down here so I can get ready for my other stuff. Go to the bathroom beforehand. Did we? think we already mentioned the orbs being superconductive. I'm putting that in the up above. Probably gonna get rid of this magnetic vortex wormhole generator thing. Just not necessary anymore. I don't think we're moving away from that. Okay, we've been making headway here though. We've got a lot more work to do though. A lot more. Good news is we're not gonna have to edit a lot of this other stuff. We're just gonna have to be able to review it. I'll throw in all the Edward Lucy Lynn stuff in here. I'm gonna edit some of this. But a lot of this stuff's starting to look really solid now here. I think this is a better format too. So like when I start to do podcasts, I want to be able to just run through it like this, right? Okay, facts, video speculation, and then probably gonna move into this next. Like this is the next thing I want to be up here. And then debunking the debris is probably next. Yeah. Probably debunking the debris next. Even though, like, you kind of have to understand the scenarios for debunking the debris. And then I think we go into lithium-ion battery fire and all the witnesses. And then you start to get into the science behind what we see. I think you really want to do the science part, like, later on. Because a lot of normies are not going to be able to understand and even come to terms with the videos until we've gotten through all this. Oh, I also want to have a part about requirements to understand the videos. I'm going to do this. This is going to be the last thing we're going to do here. Yeah, they show us the depth, but they don't tell us. High frequency. Yeah, Sean, I'm agreeing with you. Like, that's a high frequency, so I'm guessing it's really far detection range. If anyone can figure that out for later, that'd be sweet. Oh, 20 kilometers? It was on that? Okay, I'll go back and look at that. But I'm guessing it's pretty far. Okay, interesting. I'll put speculatively maybe 15 to 20 kilometers. Given the search, though, they would have seen it. So, requirements: understand the videos. We needed 2017 DoD Navy UAP videos that show FLIR. Drone FLIR. 2019 Trump satellite image from USA 224 2011. We need theoretical physics concepts. Okay, sure. Wormholes. Macroscopic decoherence. I might remove some of these or update them based on what we do in the science. Okay, 99. So we needed all these things. This is a big, really important one to understand the videos to be real. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out here. Come take a look at the Alpha Warrior stream. Let's see if I can find it for you guys real quick before we even go here. Probably on Rumble. I'm looking. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get a link and I'll have to post it. If it's live, I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, I'll give you guys the recording and we'll talk about it afterwards. So, oh, Okay, you're Kev B. Okay, cool, man. Nice talking to you, Kev B. I appreciate all your contributions. I won't reveal who you are. Again, yeah, I'm not sure about where the Alpha Warrior podcast is, but I will post it when I'm on there. Otherwise, yeah, we will follow up later after the fact here. Just trying to look and figure out. Oh, yeah, 60 viewers at once. Cool, man. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.